Hey YouTube, talk about good timing right before I'm about to leave for my work trip. They drop the new season of Go Battle League. I'm going to quickly go over it, mostly just talking about how the change in the meta, because I think they did make a lot of changes. I think it'll change the meta a bit, but not a ton. Like it'll do a little bit, but not too much that's like overbearing. So I'm going to skim through this most part because I think we really just care about the move updates and stuff like that. Plus, I'll go over all these leagues in depth when they come up. But you know, double Great League, double Ultra League, double Match League with some specialized cup, single type cup. That's interesting. I wonder if single type cup means. I'm gonna quickly look at that one because I think single type cup. I'm wondering if it's just like you get to have only like one typing, like no dual typing Pokemon. So I think that would be interesting. Go Battle Day on Canada Day. Okay, July 1st. Yeah. We'll go over that during Pokemon Go Championship, Pokemon Go World Championship event. That is when the championships are being played. Looks like the same sort of stats here. We don't care about that. We don't care about encounters. We don't care about avatars. Let's just quickly go to so Summer Cup. Yeah, we've had Summer. It's the 4 typings. Another Element Cup, Little Cup edition. That's unfortunate. Single typing cup. Only Pokemon under 1500 with only one typing are eligible. For example, Wobbuffet, who is only a psychic Pokemon, is eligible. However, Swampert, being a ground and water Pokemon, is not eligible. The following Pokemon will not be allowed: Defense Form, Deoxys, and Cresselia. So that's actually really interesting cup. So it's got to be like pure grass, pure water, pure fire, and no other sort of subtypings, which kind of usually helps a Pokemon. So that is interesting. We'll have to see what the rankings are. I actually find that really, really cool. There's a Great League Remix, which is good. Fantasy Cup, done that. And then there's a cat there again. We'll go over this when it comes because I saw it. The last week of the season is again Master League and a Catch Cup. And the second last week is a Master League and an Ultra League, right? So that is very, very, very unfortunate, which means you have to probably grind a bit earlier if you want to hit Legend. Now, new attacks plus attack changes. Quite a lot here. Quite good. Liquidation, a charge attack, 70 power, and a chance to lower the opposing Pokemon's defense by 1 stage. So we'll have to see how much energy it costs. But 70 power is pretty decent, and then obviously lowering your Pokemon's attack by 1. Leafage, 6 power for trainer battles. Again, fast attack. You just need to know the stats, so it's not much here. When I saw this, I'm like, yes. Here we go. Icicle Spear, bumped it back up, aka Walrein becomes more relevant, takes down the Owl a bit. Poison Fang, bumped up again, which means that you can kind of deal with all the main meta again, right? Your Poison Fang is buffed, although that just lowers the power as opposed to like the speed. Now that I think about it, so before with Poison Fang, so Icicle Spear is now, so actually it's power for both of them as opposed to speed, right? So if you remember, Icicle Spear and Poison Fang were that they got to it very quickly, and Poison Fang, if you got to it quickly and it added up, like it lowered the defense, it added up very quickly. Now they're bumping the power from both of them, so they realized that nerfing Walrein and nerfing Nidoqueen hurt. You can't revert it right back the way it was because they were too spammy and too overpowered that way. So what they did is they bumped the power up, so it still takes a little slower to get there, but that little extra damage boost may be able to flip things. So I think Walrein have a bit more play. Nidoqueen will have a bit more play. It won't have as much play as it used to, but there's that. Rollout, they finally buffed, which I said this is exactly what should happen. So if you watched my video about potential move updates, Rollout is a clone of, go back to watch the video, I forget it off the top of my head. Rollout was a clone of 2 other moves with 1 less power but the same energy generation. I'm like, why didn't they just give it the same power? And they did. They just bumped it up to 5 power, so that makes sense. Rollout, Miltank, Dunsparce, a little more relevant. So Dunsparce, right? Dunsparce as one of the best answers to the Owl Lantern core. You just buff the Rollout a little bit. Not that will do a ton of damage, but those rolls may add up a little more over time on the Owl. Mud Bomb is an interesting one because so Mud Bomb, everyone's so used to Mud Shot. Mud Shot is the low damage but super high energy generation. Mud Bomb is a slower energy generation, but it was already a really heavy hitting ground type move, and they buffed the power. So I guess they're saying like, I guess this is like trying to be a direct answer to Lantern, right? Because Lantern's weak to ground, Galarian Stunfisk is weak to ground. So if you bump a Mud Bomb up by 5, you take those Pokemon down to ground quicker. And as someone who runs Togedemaru, I am not going to enjoy that. And then Seed Bomb, power goes up, but energy cost goes up as well. Let's just quickly go to, whoa, I got it really zoomed in here. Let's just go to rankings. Let's zoom out a bit because that is really far in. So let's just look at some of these moves because Icicle Spear is just Wall Rain, right? Poison Fang, I think it's probably, yeah, Golbat has it. Nidoqueen is the main one that's gonna, and I guess Salazzle, but it's kind of iffy, right? So Nidoqueen, a little bit of bump with Poison Fang buff. Rollout, like I said, Dunsparce, Miltank as the main two that will benefit from this. And Mud Bomb is interesting because Mud Bomb, I think there's only a few Pokemon that use it. Like most of these are using Mud Shot, Whiscash, Marshtomp. Mud Bombs are used more by like Dugtrio. Oh, and okay, so Mud Bomb is the first Mud Bomb, not Mud. Okay. Mud Bomb. Sorry, I thought it was like a Mud Slap. I was thinking about Mud Slap. Mud Bomb is the charge move, going from 55 power to 60 power. So Mud Bomb is used by quite a lot of Pokemon. Whiscash, Stunfisk, Toxicroak, Marshtomp, Grimer, Poliwhirl. You mostly use like Dynamic Punch. Dugtrio. So the actual bomb itself is useful. That probably makes Whiscash that will make Whiscash stronger because Mud Bomb. The problem with Mud Bomb was you didn't really. It was super spammy. The Whiscash. I think Whiscash just got a huge bump. Just looking at this, I think Whiscash got a huge bump because the Mud Shot Mud Bomb combo was already super spammy, but you didn't really need to respect the Mud Bomb. But now if it's doing 5 more damage, you need to respect it. And the same thing with the Thunder Shock Mud Bomb on Stunfisk, normal Stunfisk. I think that is good. And I think these two in themselves are answers to the Owl and the Lantern core, right? Because your Mud Shot Mud Bomb is way spammier on the Lantern, so you are going to be able to spam those and hurt that quickly. And the Thundershock Discharge Mud Bomb has just great coverage for those two. So I like this. Like I think this Mud Bomb is so far the best update right there. And Seed Bomb, I don't know who gets Seed Bomb, but isn't it just right? It's the main. It's not a fast move. It's a charge move, and it's a charge move that Trevenant gets. So increase the power, but energy cost increase. So they essentially, it'll be interesting to see the offset here. I've got to imagine that increasing the cost of Seed Bomb probably hurts Trevenant more than increasing the power of Seed Bomb, right? Because instead of probably going, it took 5 Shadow Claws to get to a Seed Bomb and 7 to get to a Shadow Ball. It's now probably going to take 6 to get to a Seed Bomb and 7 to get to a Shadow Ball. And I think that extra claw it takes to get to Seed Bomb hurts Trevenant a lot more than the actual extra damage it does. That is my guess. We will have to see what happens. Talk about a big winner. Ace Sandslash here. The problem with Ace Sandslash was it was such a good typing. It had like Shadow Claw as the charge move, as the fast move if you got it on Community Day. And it had Ice Punch, which was just like a whatever type move. But then it only had Bulldoze. You now replace Bulldoze with Drill Run. This thing just got substantially better. Huge increase for Ace Sandslash. I think Ace Sandslash is a huge winner here. So far, I've seen a couple winners. A couple big winners, Ace Sandslash and Whiscash. A couple medium-sized winners. I think Nidoqueen and Walrein, and I guess to a certain extent Dunsparce and Miltank. Clefable with Fairy Wind. Again, I don't love these fairies. There's only one fairy with Fairy Wind that matters to me, in my opinion, and that is Florges. These other Fairy Wind users don't seem to be as strong, and I doubt this makes a difference. Wigglytuff with Disarming Voice is interesting because Wigglytuff can be used as a hard charm user, but the problem was it took forever to get to like a Moonblast or whatever the fairy move was. Disarming Voice is a much quicker fairy type move, so they just gave Wigglytuff a faster fairy move to get to. So I think Wigglytuff is probably buffed with this. Golduck, again, I didn't know what. Let's see what Golduck's moves were. Cross Chop and Ice Beam, right? So you had to run a terrible charge move and a sort of a non-stab nuke Ice Beam. I think this Liquidation charge move is gonna make it way better. Don't know how much better. Dugong is, again, I think Dugong is a really good winner here. I think you probably still want to run Ice Shard, Icy Wind, right? Because it is double legacy. The Icy Wind lowers the attack, and Dugong is bulky, so that's pretty good. The problem was you either had Water Pulse, so I'm assuming Liquidation is better than Water Pulse. The other problem with Dugong was you had no answers to water type Pokemon. So if you used a water type Pokemon against Dugong, they can only throw ice and water at you. Now they can Drill Run. So if I was going to run Dugong, I would probably run it with Ice Shard, Icy Wind, and Drill Run as an answer there. Cloyster and Vaporeon, again, I don't know how meta these Pokemon will be. I think Liquidation is probably an upgrade for them, but not enough to change the meta. Togetic, again, Togetic, not even Togekiss, interesting. Not even Togekiss getting Fairy Wind. I thought Togekiss would get it, but Togetic, is that an error? We'll have to see. Quagsire with Mud Bomb. And again, this is an interesting one because Quagsire right now is kind of niche. Mud Shot is a super fast charge move with Earthquake and Stone Edge, sort of two nukes. You replace Earthquake with Mud Bomb, a much quicker move to get to, and you buffed it a bit. That probably makes it a bit better than running double nukes. I don't know how much better. We'll have to see that. T-Tar with Brutal Swing. Again, this is probably an upgrade over Crunch. I'd have to look at the statistics. I've got to imagine that Brutal Swing is a better move than Crunch. So makes T-Tar a bit quicker on the charge move, but again, limited play at that. Credilli can now learn Rock Slide. This is, again, a sneaky upgrade because the problem was it knew Grass Knot and Stone Edge. Stone Edge was a nuke. Bullet Seed is already a very, very quick charging move. To now be able to throw a Rock Slide instead of like Stone Edge as a nuke, being able to throw a quicker Rock Slide, which still does damage, I think Credilli can now have a lot more play with these. Couple more Liquidation. Again, I don't know how strong these will be. Drifblim with Mystical Fire. That is interesting. So right now you run it with Icy Wind. It has more play in the Ultra League right now than the Great League. But you run it with Hex, Icy Wind, and Shadow Ball. It's a Mystical Fire, a fire type move, non-stab, lowers it. I can't imagine it's going to make a substantial difference, in my opinion. Snover and Abomasnow learning Leafage. We'll have to see how this plays out. So basically what it's doing is it's giving those another option as opposed to Razor Leaf. So it's probably going to be a less hard hitting but faster energy generating fast move for a grass as opposed to having to run these with like a Powder Snow or like a hard hitting but slower charging Razor Leaf. Probopass with Zap Cannon. Again, Probopass already has Thunderbolt. The problem is it's typing. I don't think Zap Cannon over Thunderbolt is going to make a substantial difference in the meta. Man, they're giving a lot of these things. A lot of moves here. A lot of moves. Holy smokes. Heatran, Earth Power as a ground type move. Again, limited meta, not so relevant. Samurott, I can't imagine Liquidation is better than Hydro Cannon anyways, so I'd probably just run Hydro Cannon. Whimsicott can now learn the Charge Attack Seed Bomb as opposed to Grass Knot. So you just have to look at what's the difference between Grass Knot and Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb was quicker, but they're slowing down the energy, so it maybe, Cure Cost is sort of limited as ready. Emolga with... That's interesting. Emolga with Acrobatics, because the problem with Emolga was Thundershock Discharge in itself is pretty strong combo. Air Lace is terrible. A Thundershock that can get you to an Acrobatics, that probably buffs this Pokemon. And again, another direct answer to the Owl here, right? Electros, again, Liquidation, Mystical Fire, and Litwick. I don't think... Maybe that helps in Little Cups. That'll probably help in the Little Cup against Bronzer, if they have a Little Cup against Bronzer. More Liquidations. Fast Move, Leafage. Decidueye is one of Decidueye's problem is that like the Razor Leaf, you'd only have to use that. Maybe this makes it more meta. Primarima with the Starming Voice. Again, these are actually really good updates, because the problem was with Primarina was that it knew Charm, which was fine, but then it only knew like Hydro Pump and like Moonblast. So you give it Charm with a Disarming Voice, huge increase to Primarina. A couple more fast moves on Lurantis. Lurantis right now has like a bug type move, so going a grass type move is interesting. Ursaluna, more Liquidation, and Ursaluna with Ice Punch. I don't know if that's going to matter. Ursaluna is sort of limited in the Great League and Ultra League, and then Master League it needs sort of Earth Power. So that is it. It honestly seems to me that there are an insane amount of direct buffs, but not direct nerfs. But so in my opinion, there are so many Pokemon that are buffed in this, from Walrein, Nidoqueen being the main one, Miltank thing. Mud Bomb, like I said, Whiscash is the big winner here. Seed Bomb increase in the cost. I think Seed Bomb this nerfs Trevenant, but a Sandslash is buffed. Wigglytuff with Starmie Voice is buffed. Dugong having a charge move is buffed. Quake's here with the Mud Bomb, and we'll have to see about that. Credillia I think is buffed as not having having to go charge move. Emolga is buffed. So they really did buff a lot. So the question is, does that buff affect the core meta of Great League, right? I think there is enough here between the Icicle Spear buff, the Rollout buff, the Poison Fang buff, the Mud Bomb buff, getting Drill Run and a Sandslash, getting Drill Run on Dugong to affect the Lantern Owl core. What I haven't seen here is anything that is going to hurt Medicham, because you're buffing a move that's going to get Walrein back, which helps Medicham. Poison Fang is fine, but you still take super effective from a Psychic, so that's going to take you there. You resist the rollout. All these other Pokemon coming in strong, like a Sandslash and Dugong, take super effective from counter. Right? Maybe some of these fairies, like Flyer, like Emolga now, has more play, but it doesn't seem like Medicham has been significantly affected at all here. So that is interesting. I do think the Owl and Lantern have taken a substantial hit. I think there is probably a lot more Pokemon that I'm excited to try here. So yeah, good job. I think overall good job, Niantic. The schedule itself, I think there's some cool stuff. Like I really like the single typing cup, because you can get so creative with that. Again, there's a few element cups, or again, retro cup is whatever. These back-to-back false cups. Seems like they're always trying to have something, either a little cup or a Great League with Ultra League or Master League, which is good. Hate how the season ends. Hate how the season ends again. But you know what? Overall, I would say that this is good. I think they did a good job with this. So that's it. Let me know in the comments what you think. And that is it. So I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.